Moving on to Bedlam softball that's upcoming this weekend. Mason, I would love to know from you, what are some under the radar players that we're not talking about as we approach this heated rivalry?
Well, I think somebody in terms of underrated that's going to play a really big role in this series is Kirsten Deal for OU. She's been absolutely dominant in her last several starts, but I actually want to flip this to over the radar because I think the big player, big name that we're all thinking about going into this series is Kelly Maxwell. I mean, she transfers from OSU to OU and has yet to play her former team since that occurred, and since Kenny Gajewski, OSU's coach, was very vocal and very disappointed in that move. And so we'll see if we get to talk to Kelly Maxwell this week before it all goes down and kind of get her reflection on how that all transpired before this series. But she's been a dominant ace for OU. I mean, she's been the pitcher that they've been able to count on consistently throughout the entire season. And fortunately, Deal has come along in the last few weeks, and that's given them a really good number two. So those two lefties being the 1-2 punch for OU going into this Bedlam series, I think is going to be a big deal. And but most fascinated to see what if any interactions look like between Maxwell and her former teammates and her former coach this weekend.
Tyler, any players you're watching this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we have enough time to talk about the under the radar players that Oklahoma State has that need to play well this series if the Cowgirls are going to have a chance. From a pitching rotation, Ivy Rosenberry, number two pitcher. I think her ERA right now is right around 1.1. Um, they're going to need her best stuff this weekend. Um, uh, Freshman Carly Godwin recently set the program's freshman home run record at 12, and that's still going. So I imagine she has at least a couple more left in her this season. Um, Someone who I don't think is under the radar, but maybe if for whatever reason, maybe you dipped out of Oklahoma State softball to watch March Madness or something else the last, say, 3, 4 weeks. Maybe you've been watching the NBA, the end of the NBA season. You missed out on Jillian uh, Poulard. Just she went from being out of the lineup to leading off and honestly being, I think, Oklahoma State's most consistent bat. I mean, just that the sort of midseason turnaround has been incredible. She had 2 home runs on senior day, and I don't think that's a surprise. I think honestly it would have been a surprise if she didn't hit at least one the way she's been playing. I think she might. I think Oklahoma State, if they're going to win this weekend, I think Jillian Poulard has to have an incredible game.
Bill, players on
On
your radar?
anytime there's a evenly matched, whether it's baseball or softball, anytime you got evenly matched teams with excellent pitching, the whoever is going to win two of three or sweep or whatever, the team that wins the weekend will be the one that gets the most production from the lower third, offensively from the lower third of the order. We'll see. So those, instead of me reciting names, a bunch of names, I can tell you those three women on each side in the lower third of the batting order. Those are the key people in this series.